Ali, thank you so much for joining us for the People in Housing podcast. Do you want to just start off just by giving us a bit of an overview of your work history in the sector and what got you into this in the first place?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. So I sort of deviated into the construction industry through initially air tightness testing and acoustic testing of sort of commercial hospitals, large-scale apartment blocks down to a bungalow, and then kind of moved into the retrofit sphere maybe about 5 years ago. A smaller retrofit assessment company, carried out hundreds of assessments for them, and then moved over to Ridge and Partners, where I've been for almost 3 years now. Was one of the first retrofit employees at Ridge when they looked to kind of take a risk.
So it was new to them at the time as well?
Yeah, it was new to them. It's an emerging market, and they kind of took a chance on me and a couple of others. And since then, we've kind of built the team into
what it is now.
Yeah, what it is now, delivering some really successful large-scale retrofit programs across the country.
And how did you become aware of retrofit, if it's still quite a new thing at the time? What made you aware to get into it?
So I became aware of it through a BBC News article. So just read about it, and the always kind of had an eye on moving into kind of an environmental sort of construction-based career path. And it just caught my eye one lunchtime. Read about it and saw that air tightness testing formed part of those works. So just reached out to a company, and that was it.
Gone from there.
Yeah, it's just got kicked on from there.
Okay, brilliant. And it was about 6 weeks ago now. We had the People in Housing Awards, which was hopefully a big success. So congratulations to you and the guys at Ridge for winning the best approach to net zero. What did the award and the recognition mean to you and the team there?
Well, I think it was like a great recognition for myself and Neb, who attended on the night, and the retrofit team for what we've been doing in the industry. I feel like we've been making some waves in the last couple of years, and to see that sort of recognised in the sort of delivery of our works was incredible.
Yeah, brilliant. And net zero, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's been a huge thing in the industry for the last few years now. What do you think Ridge is doing differently to help the sector move from ambition to action?
Well, it's about making net zero practical. Like, there's a huge ambition within the country at the moment to sort of meet these targets by 2050. I think it equates to about 1 million homes being delivered per year through retrofit to sort of work towards those goals. So there's a lot of work to do, and what we're sort of doing differently at the business level would be kind of how we operate. We're sort of beginning to migrate our businesses into and our offices into BREEAM excellent buildings, so really low energy buildings. And then also moving towards sort of electric vehicles, things like that. And then within our team, our biggest impact comes from the projects that we work on. So retrofit, I feel, needs to be delivered at program level, not project level. So looking at housing estates as a whole and kind of finding an approach to deliver those efficiently, robustly and accurately. Our greatest strength is the people at Ridge. So we're a multidisciplinary consultancy. So under one roof, we've got building surveyors, project managers, retrofit coordinators, architects, everything all under one roof.
So you were one of the first, and how big is that team now just doing that bit?
So our team now is 11, whereas I think a year ago we were just over 2.
So do you cover nationally then?
Yeah, so we've got I think it's 13 offices up and down the country now. We've just moved into Wales and acquired a Cardiff office there. But we stretched down from Plymouth up to Newcastle and kind of everywhere in between.
Hell of a journey. Yeah. What particular within retrofit do you guys, is it everything, or is it certain elements that you guys are really specialists in?
Ridge, we deliver PAS 2035 consultancy. So we will carry out retrofit assessments at the start and the outset of the project, all the way through to design, and then post-monitoring and evaluation, post-works. But it's essentially under one umbrella of almost project management in a way, but with a little spin where we also kind of take the measures that are installed on the properties and really work with the client. We kind of see our clients as our colleagues in a way, like we're their trusted partner to deliver these programs, and some of these programs range from 3 to 5 years. So a lot of trust gets put in us to kind of meet their intended outcomes of the project, and just sort of really work collaboratively with them.
Brilliant. Why do you think social housing's such an important area when it comes to retrofit and decarbonisation, and how do you balance meeting these targets with the residents' day-to-day well-being?
So in social housing and net zero, I feel like that's where the biggest impact is felt. we're talking about affordable housing, and there's just a mounting performance gap between live client stock, live sort of social housing stock, and the new build market.
Yeah.
And that performance gap is ever growing. A lot of housing providers and local authorities, the only sort of refurbishment works they were doing for years and years was just sort of new kitchens, new bathrooms,
just part of the planned works, standard stuff.
General repairs. And energy efficiency hasn't really been at the sort of forefront of their mind. But the government funding through Warmer Homes and Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund has really enabled them to kind of prioritise those energy savings, and ultimately the residents within those properties are going to feel the impact as well, because they are the most vulnerable to rising energy costs. Being able to kind of counteract those with sort of warmer homes, safer homes, higher air quality, like better air quality, better insulation, things like that, it's really beneficial for them.
Yeah, you mentioned about the funding then, and I hate to get political, but if the government does change from Labour and a new government comes in, could a different government change future funding if they've got a different outcome on retrofit and net zero works?
Yeah, possibly. There's been a large commitment to funding.
So it's just there
over the course of the Labour and the Conservative government before that.
Yeah,
it is a slight concern, but ultimately, as you stated earlier, net zero is not going anywhere.
Of course. Yeah.
These properties, we have some of the worst housing stock in Europe.
Yeah.
In terms of sort of thermal performance, it's really old. A lot of it was built after the war with no intention of it still being here.
Okay.
Sort of 60, 70, 80 years down the line. But here we are, and we have to work on them and bring them up to standard.
Yeah, perfect. And there is increasing pressure in the sector to always prove outcomes and deliverables there. How do you evidence the real impacts of your work and what you guys are doing?
So at Ridge and as a wider company and within the retrofit team, we're incredibly data driven.
Okay.
So a lot of that comes from our clients' sort of stock assets, like carry out some stock analysis prior to retrofit assessments to see if we can sort of archetype either certain streets, certain like boroughs or blocks of flats, etc. We're always in practical terms, we're seeing homes improved from EPC ratings D&E up to B and C, which is a huge improvement.
Is that the simplest overall way to look at it, like the before and after of the EPC?
It is, although there are sort of other...
It's a bit more technical.
There's other factors like carbon reduction, visible elements like the presence of damp and mould, pre-retrofit. Our aim is sort of meet with our absolute requirements is to not only eradicate that, but keep it safe, keep the property safe from sort of moisture ingress and conditions that the damp and mould spores sort of thrive in. Okay,
and can you see is there a big link between retrofit and damp and mould works in terms of what you're looking for in the home and how they affect each other?
Absolutely, yeah. With any improvement to insulation comes a risk, because in particularly in those instances where there was no damp and mould, if you then make a change to the fabric of that building, it might not breathe in the same way. So that's where our design team in particular really kick into action and carry out sort of moisture risk assessments and thermal bridge calculations to ensure that these issues are sort of mitigated at the source.
So how do people fit within the process of retrofit?
So people are critical to the retrofit process. Net zero doesn't work without people. Internally, we invest in a lot of training in our team within Ridge as a consultancy, always looking to further our knowledge and expertise. With clients and our sort of wider partners, we sort of share lessons learned from previous programs that we've both been working on. We work really collaboratively with contractors. We'll always sort of give them a sort of sample of what's to come.
Okay.
With maybe like a pilot or just sort of show them what we've worked on previously, and if it's something if it's particularly a design they can interact with and really translate to delivered on site. Arguably the most important people within the retrofit process are the residents themselves. Ultimately, we're going into their homes, making changes, causing disruption.
Yeah.
It is for the greater good, but sometimes they don't really see it like that. So it's really important to get sort of 3-tiered collaborative communication piece aligned and sorted before any contract begins. And that would be between the client, between us and the contractor.
Okay.
And it needs to be really consistent and robust and clear. Sort of take the residents on the journey with us and sort of make it feel like retrofit isn't something that's happening to them, it's something that's happening for them.
Okay, brilliant, yeah. And some of the clients we work with, they've got different approaches to it. They'll just go and do one or two aspects of what needs to be changed. And others that we work with will do what they call like a whole home approach. What do you think's the best method?
In my opinion, it would be the whole house approach,
Okay.
for sure. Looking to improve fabric first.
Yeah.
Sort of make the homes easier to heat. By improving sort of loft insulation, wall insulation, sometimes floor insulation as well. At the same time, always keeping ventilation as a sort of key aspect of, or in the mind of each decision that you're making. That way, then the property's like fully ready for its sort of low carbon renewables like air source heat pumps and solar panels. There's no point putting an air source heat pump on a house which isn't insulated at all.
Yeah, pointless. Yeah.
The cost for the resident will sort of double or triple in some cases.
Can you see like a future where there are solar panels fitted to all new builds, for example, potentially?
Yeah, I believe that's sort of starting to happen now.
Okay.
I mean, even if you drive around, just sort of
there's loads dotted
about
all
the sort of inlay solar panels, which look quite sleek on the roof, as opposed to the ones on a rail system, which are typically the ones that we'll put on.
Okay. And finally, looking ahead then, what do you see is the biggest challenge and the biggest opportunity for the housing sector on the road to net zero?
So I think the biggest opportunity would be to sort of utilise digitization and automation in retrofit. So that would mean almost creating a digital twin of each property.
Okay.
So we've already at Ridge, we've sort of developed our own platform for delivering retrofit projects on, all the way through from assessment and any survey data collected through to design, through to delivery on site. Every decision, every document is all sort of in one place.
Okay.
Almost like in a property passport.
But
what we'd look to do to sort of further improve that with the digital twin is to utilise kind of like Matterport scanning and create almost like point cloud meshes of each individual property. That's usually it can be done by anyone just sort of walking through the house, holding the camera.
Going through.
Yeah, just takes sort of measured points of each room, of each dimension, and that way when you're designing, you don't need to go to site to take measurements. You can do it all through this digital twin.
Oh wow, okay.
Leads to less traffic through the front door of the resident, which is obviously really key, because there's no point doing 15 visits to a house if you can kind of capture it all in one. So yeah, just sort of really making the most of the tech that's out there. And,
is that a new thing that you guys have started using then?
Yeah. So we started using it at Ridge possibly a couple of years ago on harder to sort of measure buildings like churches and like buildings where you've got like a 5 meter high ceiling and there might be a defect in up high which you just can't get to safely. In Birmingham alone, we're working on a number of projects with Equans. And one of the ones I'm working on is a sort of a large scale program to 400 houses and bungalows where we're delivering solar panels and loft insulation, and then also looking at ventilation as well. So installing sort of a continuous ventilation system rather than one that sort of turns on and off with your bathroom light switch. It's one that's sort of running continuously at a low volume and then sort of boosts when you either cook your dinner or have a shower. That project alone, we're projected to save around 68 tons of CO2 over 400 properties, which is really impressive and should make a really, really big difference to the residents and their energy costs.
Yeah. What's the average CO2 rating? Like you mentioned there about the tons. What's the average per property at the moment, or is that even data there, or is it more on EPC?
It is measured all in EPC. It's carried out through RDSAP, which is very it runs on assumptions. Yeah. So if a property is built in the 1950s, it could have like internal wall insulation. It could have all these different elements which you can't see with the naked eye, which are making the property more energy efficient and using less carbon. But a lot of it, and I guess this is one of the kind of challenges in the industry, is that RDSAP is an assumptions-based program. Whilst the data is there, it might not be too accurate. But the data you can collect from, particularly in solar panel installations, is really accurate, as long as the assessment's consistent before and after, including the difference of that solar panel. The data will be accurate.
And do you moving forwards as another potential challenge, because retrofit's still quite new, do you think a future challenge could be more funding to keep it going, or having enough people who are technically bang on and having the knowledge to deliver it? Yeah,
well, I feel like the retrofit industry now, and you see it at events like Future Build, and there's a lot of really, really good heads in the industry now. There's not so much. We're not really working things out anymore. We're getting into that sort of solid delivery. We all know what we're doing. I think one of the biggest challenges is being able to kind of push an emerging industry onto young people and get them interested in learning more about retrofit, because for years retrofit was this almost like taboo word, which no one really knew what it meant. But now, particularly in the built environment industry, it's sort of the talk of the town at the moment. But getting that translated into something that young people can really engage with and be excited by a potential career. I've done a couple of lectures or sort of classes to sort of explain the various roles within the retrofit process, kind of what skills might be like best fit for someone who wants to become a retrofit coordinator, like someone who can solve skills or think proactively. That's the kind of person that would make a good retrofit coordinator. A good assessor would be someone with a really keen eye for detail and like, sort of not afraid to sort of get up in the ugly parts of the house and take a real good look. And there's so many opportunities out there, and there's so much retrofit to be done, but not enough people.
Of course. And is there anything Ridge are doing to get younger people into it? Is there like apprenticeship schemes that they're doing or anything?
So we are looking at starting apprenticeships within the next sort of year or so, get within the retrofit team. The college courses are great, but it would be great to sort of see some of that come into fruition and take people on that journey. We've got a couple of young people in the team as well who are really, really, really keen and are going to be brilliant. And just getting them to kind of learn about retrofit, learn about the industry itself as well is really exciting.
And I think that's the industry as a whole, isn't it? Whether it's social housing, retrofit, anything else like that. No one grows up wanting to be it or do it because you've never really heard of it. So it's about getting it out there, doing it through the courses and the apprenticeship schemes, and spreading the word really to get people involved.
Exactly that. We do Ridge Green Futures as part of our social value delivery on contracts. So that will either be going to our clients, some of the residents themselves, and providing workshops on kind of the purpose of retrofit, why it's important to them, the benefits it's going to have on themselves and the community, and also to kind of like push for the narrative of, you know, this is a really good industry and an emerging market to start a career in, which is understaffed. So it provides such a good opportunity for people. And the door's wide open.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.